The news that's been taking over headlines is nothing short of shocking. The Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that prides itself on its strategic decisions, never saw this coming. What was once a hopeful pursuit may now turn into a lost opportunity, as the Steelers could very well miss out on a player they nearly acquired earlier this season. Earlier in the year, the Steelers were actively trying to secure a deal for Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver, Kirk. The plan was in motion, and the trade deadline saw Pittsburgh ready to bring Kirk into their fold, hoping to add an explosive weapon to their offense. Unfortunately, just before the trade could go through, fate intervened in the form of a broken collarbone. That injury threw a wrench into everything, and the potential move came to a screeching halt. As a result, Pittsburgh lost out on a player who could have been a difference maker on their roster. Kirk, who has spent most of his career with the Jaguars, primarily operates out of the slot. However, his ability to make plays and his skill set could have brought an exciting new dimension to the Steelers' offense. With the team's current roster, adding a player like Kirk could have been the perfect fit, injecting some much-needed firepower into their wide receiver core. However, now, as the season moves forward, the Steelers find themselves in limbo, not knowing if they'll have another shot at Kirk. The situation gets even more intriguing with the arrival of new leadership in Jacksonville. Head coach Liam Cohen and general manager James Gladstone are now at the helm, and their vision for the team could potentially involve a shake-up of the roster. The question now becomes, does Kirk still fit into the Jaguars' future plans? Gladstone has left the door wide open for the possibility of Kirk's departure. If the Jaguars decide to cut ties with the wide receiver, they would save money, given that Kirk's contract has no remaining guarantees. However, Gladstone recently addressed the situation, saying that the team is in the very early stages of roster discussions. We're just starting the conversations about our current roster across our pro scouting and coaching staff, as well as working in pro-free agent-related dialogue, Gladstone commented. At this point in time, I can say that we're happy to have Kirk on the team. Despite Gladstone's optimistic tone, there's still a lot up in the air. Kirk has battled injuries over the past couple of seasons, and while he's still capable of contributing, his limited availability could raise concerns. In fact, over the last 2 years, Kirk has recorded just over 1,000 yards in total, a solid but underwhelming number for a wide receiver of his caliber. Still, his talent is undeniable, and when he's on the field, he's proven he can make plays. In 2024, 73% of his snaps came from the slot, and it's likely that this role would have remained his primary function had he joined the Steelers. However, if the Steelers were to revisit the possibility of acquiring Kirk, there would be a few factors to consider. With Calvin Austin III and Roman Wilson already in the fold, the Steelers would need to ensure that Kirk wouldn't be pigeonholed into the slot position. In fact, his role in Pittsburgh's offense would likely have to expand beyond just lining up inside. The Steelers would need a versatile player who could move around the formation and create mismatches on different parts of the field. That said, while Kirk can certainly contribute as a slot receiver, Pittsburgh would need to ensure they were adding depth and not just another piece to an already crowded receiver room. In terms of his production, Kirk's numbers over the past 2 years haven't exactly been eye-popping. 1,101 receiving yards isn't a terrible output, but when compared to other high-end receivers in the league, it's relatively modest. The fact that he has struggled with injuries throughout this period only adds to the question marks surrounding him. However, the Steelers would need to proceed with caution. The risk of adding a player like Kirk isn't just about his health, but also his fit within the offense. While his talent is certainly evident, the Steelers would have to carefully weigh how well he meshes with their current scheme and whether he could truly provide the spark they need. The team would likely need to make this move at the right price, something that aligns with his injury history and current value in the market. Ultimately, Kirk could be a solid complementary piece, but he can't be the answer to all of Pittsburgh's offensive problems. The Steelers' offensive struggles go beyond just one player, and bringing in Kirk would not be a cure-all. If they decide to pull the trigger on this potential acquisition, they would have to ensure it's a move made for the right reasons and at the right cost. Given that the Steelers nearly secured a deal for Kirk earlier in the season, it's possible they could revisit the situation if he becomes available. However, with the growing list of concerns around his availability, durability, and fit in the offense, Pittsburgh would have to be strategic in their decision-making process. So, what's next? Will the Steelers take another shot at landing Christian Kirk, the player they once eyed? And if they do, will it be the right move for both the short-term and long-term success of the franchise? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure. Pittsburgh has a tough decision ahead as they weigh the potential risks and rewards of a player with undeniable talent, but significant question marks. In the coming months, all eyes will be on both the Steelers and